Hello, life insurance salesman. I'm so happy you're here. I'm about to roast you over some hot coals. You ready? Hi, my name is Tori. I am a financial expert. I am a multimillionaire. I'm a New York Times bestselling author. I also host the #1 business podcast for women in the country called Financial Feminist, and the book's called Financial. It's called Branding. And we have 4 million followers across all our social channels. And today we're going to talk about my most controversial money takes, the ones where people get mad at me in the comments. I am in direct conflict with other financial experts, Dave Ramsey. So let's talk about it. Usually I am a woman of the people. I always say personal finance is personal. And for the vast majority of things, that's true. People ask me like, what percentage of my income do I need to be saving? Ultimately, you know yourself, you know your life. Most personal finance situations are going to vary depending on the person I'm talking to and depending on your circumstances and depending on things like your gender and your race and how much money you make and where you live and what you want out of life and what your goals are, right? So personal finance is personal for me just as a cardinal rule. However, there are some hard and fast things that I 100% believe will never change my mind on. Cue the video like 6 years later where I've changed my mind. But like in theory, I've never changed my mind on. So let's talk about it. All right, number one, this is already, I can just see the comments right now. You, under no circumstances, none whatsoever, should completely combine your finances with a partner. Now, you're gonna say, but marriage, it's two people coming together and what's mine is yours and what's yours is mine. And that means you're gonna break up if you live in a marriage where you're not completely combining your finances, as you think you're gonna get divorced or there's going to be secrecy or it's because I don't trust you. No, none of those things are true. You are more likely to have a healthier relationship if you do not completely combine your finances. Let's talk about why I believe this so wholeheartedly. And I'm gonna give you the trigger warning first. We're going to talk about abuse right now. None of us want to believe that this will happen to us. And I hope to God this doesn't happen to you. However, I could literally open up every inbox that is associated with HerFirst 100K, and I can find dozens of messages from women all over the world who tell me, I don't have my own money, or my partner is controlling my money and I'm not able to leave this relationship. I don't feel safe. I don't have any flexibility. I don't maybe even have any choice about anything anymore because I can't financially afford to leave. 99% of domestic violence cases and of abusive relationships have some sort of financial abuse tied to them. Again, none of us want to believe we're a statistic or could be a statistic, but the worst case version of this is that you do not have enough money to leave. Let's lessen the severity for a second. Don't you want to be in a relationship with somebody knowing that they're in it for the right reasons, right? And that you're in it for the right reasons? You're not just in it because you can't leave financially or that you're reliant on somebody else financially. Like, I want to show up in a relationship knowing that like my partner actually loves me and I love them and we're here because we love each other. We're not here for the other person's money. That's one version of why we really should combine your finances. And especially if you're a woman dating or in a relationship with a man. The second thing, and this is more fun, is you have more flexibility, even if you just have some of your own money, where you're not having to make every single financial decision together. My parents mostly combine their finances, but they have a little bit of money, and it's like my dad's golf, poker, pickleball money, and my mom's scrapbooking, TJ Maxx home goods money. And when they make purchases, they don't have to clear it with the other person. That makes for a happier relationship. It means that you can have separate hobbies outside of you both. And it also doesn't lead to the kind of bickering I see in a lot of relationships, which is the like takes a look at the credit card bill and it's like, you spent what at Target, right? Like you're preventing a lot of those conversations because this is your money and you get to spend it how you see fit. You also get to buy the other person gifts and they don't know. And that's kind of fun, right? That's the more fun version versus domestic violence. But like, is you get to buy this other person a gift or an experience and they don't know how much you're spending or where you went. And that's great. Now, if you are worried about something like, oh my God, they are going to financially cheat on me. They're going to spend money and go into debt and they're not going to tell me. That tells me everything I need to know about your relationship with this person. There's bigger things at play there. And if you are worried that this could potentially be an issue, this is why we talk about money, and we talk about money as soon as possible in a relationship. You always need some of your own money. The ideal for me, if I'm putting my financial expert hat on, it looks like a joint bank account for joint expenses like rent, mortgage, groceries, daycare, etc., and then separate accounts for your various activities or for your own goals or for money that you brought into a relationship. Which leads me to controversial take 1.5, which is you need a prenup. Now, here's the thing. Again, controversial. Prenups, people believe prenups are I believe we're going to get divorced and this relationship is doomed to fail, or I only need a prenup when somebody is marrying somebody 30 years younger than them and it's their 4th wife and somebody has way more money. No. Fun fact about prenups. If you get married, you already have a prenup. Like, I'm gonna blow your mind. If you are married, you have a prenup already, but it's dictated to you by the state. The state has already decided what happens to your money if you separate from your partner. It's already decided. It's in the marriage laws for that state. And fun fact, I'm in Seattle. Washington State, unless you choose differently, splits assets 50-50. That's not what you want. And I would just argue in general, I don't want the government to tell me what is going to go on in my relationship and what's going to go on with my money. They do enough of that already. So I want to dictate with my partner what it makes sense for both of us. And let's have a collaborative conversation about this. I actually have a good friend of mine, both friends, I'm friends with her and her husband. We had a really transparent conversation a couple years ago about the whole prenup process. And they said it was actually really helpful for us because we were better able to articulate what was important to us. We understood what was important to the other person. It was a really good, actually, team building exercise for us to determine, here's what matters to us. Here's how we protect both ourselves, but also our relationship. And people who get prenups actually have healthier marriages and actually are less likely to divorce. So it's actually the opposite because it forces you to talk about money. It forces you to have an open conversation about what this is, about how much money you have, about how much debt you have, about how much money your partner has, about how much debt they have, and what that looks like in this relationship. So never completely combine your finances. And please, dear God, get a prenup that you actually decide on with you and your partner. Okay, number 2, hello, life insurance salesman. I'm so happy you're here. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching my video. I'm about to roast you over some hot coals. You ready? Indexed Universal Life Insurance, otherwise known as IUL. You've seen this all over your TikTok. You've seen this all over YouTube. It is a straight up scam. Straight up. It is a straight up scam. We can show you the little graph and chart over here that proves to you that investing through something like a 401k and IRA is going to outperform investing through an indexed universal life insurance policy every single fucking time. Life insurance is for life insurance. Life insurance is to protect you and your family in case one of you dies. That's what life insurance is there for. Investing is for investing. Life insurance is not for investing. You should not be investing through your life insurance. If you have somebody in your life or on the internet who is trying to sell you an indexed universal life insurance policy, you do not have a financial advisor, you have a life insurance salesman. Here's the deal with IULs. They're almost never actually helpful for you as a consumer, but they make financial advisors and salesmen a shit ton of money. The commission they earn on these policies is nuts, which is why they talk about them all the time. Now, I'm not here making money. Making money is not a bad thing. I am never gonna recommend something to you or a tool to you that you don't actually need or is not actually helpful or is gonna cost you a bunch of money that sets you up for failure. And anybody in the comments right now who's like, well, actually, sorry, no, do your own research. It's a fucking scam. Related to this is number 3, which is it's just the finance industry is scammy. Like it is a I've said this in previous videos, but it's a multi-billion-dollar industry built on stereotypically straight white men going, oh honey, oh don't worry, I can do it for you. And then they charge you an exorbitant amount in fees and they don't do anything. We know from the statistics and studies I found from my book, people who are professional stock pickers are bad at their jobs. They do not outperform a diversified investment like an index fund. They're bad at their job. They're trying to sell you on something that they make seem complicated because it makes them feel important and inflates their egos. But really at the end of the day, just costs you money. So if you are going to work with a financial advisor or financial professional in a one-on-one scenario, you need to ask if they're a fiduciary. Fiduciary means they're legally obligated to act in your own best interest. The company that I co-created and used to build my stock market school platform, they have licenses to give personal finance advice, and they're fiduciaries. And they're legally obligated to act in your own best interest. So that's the first question. If they are not a fiduciary, we walk. We walk immediately. Second thing, you want to make sure that they are charging you based on a fee or an hourly rate, not a percentage of your investments or a percentage of like your performance. We want fee-based financial advisors only. And I will just say in general, I've said this so many times, 99% of you watching do not need a financial advisor. You need somebody like me to teach you step-by-step how to invest for yourself. Link down below for a free workshop to teach you how to invest, but truly, like, you don't need a financial advisor. If you have questions of like how to get out of debt, how to save money, what investments are good for the average person, how do I pick certain stocks that aren't going to lose me money, you don't need a financial advisor to do that. Okay, finally, number 4. I'm infamously a multimillionaire who chooses to rent. And one of the big controversial money takes I have is that is not a bad thing. It's not throwing money down the drain, and it's actually financially smart. There's a New York Times article that came out literally a couple months ago about how for the average American in an average US city, it is now actually cheaper to rent than it is to buy. It's more financially responsible to rent than it is to buy. Why do I rent? Couple reasons. I love the flexibility of it. My landlord lives right there. I can call him up and be like, my fire alarm's going off, which has happened an inexorbitant amount of times. Great, he brings a big ladder over and handles it at 2 in the morning. I don't have to. Great, fantastic. I pay for that. I'm very busy. I travel a lot. I don't have the energy to navigate the home buying process, especially in Seattle where your average starter home is $900,000 and you're gonna have to like fist fight 12 other people for it, Hunger Games style. That's buying a house right now in an average American city. It's a waste of money. No, it's not. I'm paying for somewhere to live. And for the average person, not only is it smarter financially, but like home ownership is a privilege at this point in this country. The houses are so expensive. Life is so expensive that even the thought of buying a house for most people, it can't be a thought because it's not accessible for the average person. Take is so old and it's so tired that like renting is throwing away money and you have to be a homeowner. And that's the other thing too, is it's like you are not an adult until you're a homeowner. No, sorry, also not true. And people who are typically giving that advice are people who have owned their homes for 40 years and bought them in the 1870s. And like waved hi to like Abraham Lincoln as he walked by. Like that's who can afford houses, is people who bought them forever ago when the cost of living just generally was less and we didn't have a $1 trillion student debt crisis and salaries were actually commensurate with experience and education. Renting's not a bad thing. That's it. I love ranting, and if you liked watching me rant, you can subscribe, you can tell me what controversial money takes you have. Maybe they will disagree with mine and then I'll do a part 2. But if you would like to see more, you can subscribe. We really appreciate it. These videos are expensive for us to produce, but free for you to watch, and the best way to support us is just by clicking that subscribe button. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being financial feminists, and we'll talk to you soon.